Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go.
Hi, everyone. Today's Tuesday, November the 18th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. Our charts are by TrendSpider, and our gamma flows come from Mentor Q. All right, so what are we taking a look at? We've got the E-mini S&P 500 here, and we're staring down the 0 DTE put wall that is being tested and has been tested several times. Trend is down, momentum is down, volume by price and time is a little flat, but it certainly is a negative territory and has been for some time. This has not been positive in days. So we've got a drift down. Remember, easy way to figure out what's going on with price is to simply draw a trend line attaching a couple of these touches to each other. Now, a lot of folks say, hey, listen, the more times it touches, the more valid it is. I don't know if that's actually true, but here's the storyboard. What we are looking at is definitely downtrending formations. Now, what's the storyboard? Storyboard is the break of the put wall opens up these lower gamma levels between 65.50, 65.80, and the closest one on target here is 66.30. Okay, so that's 66.25. That would be the next line in the sand here. As you can see, this is a lot of two-way action, right? And so we must be prepared for two-way action as opposed to just a solid trend per se. And so you want to look for bounces. If you want to stick to one side of the aisle and you go, hey, I'm going short today, look for bounces, not breakdowns to do it. The market is in a space that seasonality says eventually we're going to have ourselves a pretty good bounce. We've got portfolio rebalancing, all kinds of things going on that could shift very quickly. And as you'll notice, what was this? Friday, we had that V bottom. And then yesterday, it looked like it was going to hold, faded all the way to the bottom of the edge, came into prior supports from days past, and then savagely bounced off of the edge where the 0 DTE was sitting, where the gamma line was sitting yesterday, pardon me. So what do we want to do? Get up over that zone. They're going to try and fight. What's the early morning telling us? Dang it, I thought my voice would last. The morning's telling us that they are trying to hold the floor and push it up into resistance. That being said, still very negative trending and a lot of pre-market flow. Here's where the traders are accumulating volume. That's between 66, 65 and 66.85. All right, so that's what we're going to stare down in the price action there. Where's the big call wall and the overall motion? We fell out of the value area, right? Value area high all the way up here at 6,900. Value area low down at 67.50. The call wall, interesting, 67.75 for the 0 DTEs. Let's see where the big call wall, see if it's still up at 7,000. Yes, it is. So here's the thing. They're not bringing that call wall in. And so we could easily have ourselves a little bit of a reflexive bounce into the end of the month. Don't underestimate the power of the bid that could come into this market. Momentum is down currently. Trend is down. So bounces are sell zones. They are trying to bounce. Holding the put wall is a great space to think about buying the dip. That's 66.50. You want to take profit as long as this VWAP is trending here. Look at where the dynamo cloud is sitting. It's so far above. It's such a negative trend this morning and yesterday. Just clear negative pressure. So we want to be cautious of that and just walk it up the chain. Remember, breakdown of this is super important. Here's what we've got. This is a setup that is very, very powerful. Here's the accumulation. There's the break. The first pass is going to try and recover. If we get to, let's say you want to take this bounce because you go, all right, I'm building a floor. And you take the bounce, but it does not close over the VWAP, or at the very least, over the midpoint of the congestion, the chart is going to rotate right back down. That number is 66.75. You want to watch for that. All right? That's going to be a very big deal. That being said, if it holds, it walks up to 85, then 6,700, and then we're off to the races. Okay? There we have it. 6,700 is where the put wall was yesterday. And so there's going to be a remnant of that. Notice in the pre-market action, overnight's pre-market action, really trying to hold up above that 6,700. The breakaway, take a look at this. This breakaway doesn't even give us the first bounce on this 1 hour chart. It might try to give us one on, say, a 15-minute or whatever, but very strong buying under the VWAP, clear breakaway, and then off to the races in the overnight down into the new put wall. All right, 0DT call wall again, 67.75, but value area low at 67.50 gives us a clear area of heavy congestion that we may have a tremendous problem getting out of if the price action does not behave itself, right? Tough. All right, let's go to the NQ. I know the res is really strong here. I sure hope that this gets into... What happened here? Something going on with the walls. Pardon me. Okay, so taking a look at the NQ, we've got the same kind of woes, really. Let's see where the breakdown event occurs. Let's go back here. Wow. How far back do we gotta go? Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at this area. Let's draw a line there. That's 24,400. You can see the big put wall below at 24,000. This 24,400, there's a lot of inventory that collected here. So it's going to be sort of like a memory box, as it were, for the traders looking into the edge. Clear rotations. I took a look at the semis yesterday from, take a look at this. Oh no, it won't show it today. Never mind. I did some research sitting in TrendSpider. Every single semiconductor company was down yesterday. It was very, very red. All right, so what are we staring down? Put wall, 24,750, broken. Tried to recover it overnight, broken again. Same sort of thing happening. Inventory accumulation. Come on, Fred. Down into the wall of 24,750, up to 24,675. Then we've got another formation right here. We broke down out of it, came back, sort of holding underneath that line. So my suspicion is 24,850 might end up giving us a good area to say, okay, if we get above there, the buying is going to hold. Right now, we are 100 points below. Coming into the box, the same story. We want to see what happens halfway up the box. See if price action can hold above there. If it can, we'll stair step into the next zones. As it sits, trend is down, momentum is down. Pretty outsized volume in terms of the regular trading that we're supposed to see. So it's been pretty outsized for days and days. Now, can we draw the trend lines the same way? We can, but they're pretty steep. Whoopsie. Oh, for heaven's sakes, what's going on here? Trend lines are really steep. Come along, Fred. Yeah, they're so steep I can barely draw them. Very steep trend line events, but we can see they're trying to hold the floor, right? And notice, see these lines that I drew? Where I got them was way far in the past. Way far in the past. They are trying to hold those zones. Getting above the put wall is going to be huge for them. We could see ourselves a rotation. Overnight inventory is short, and they will want to unwind some of that inventory. That usually comes around the 9:10 to 9:23 time frame Eastern. The anchored VWAP of the prior day is 25,041. This rotation tells us, we're sitting inside of this breakdown box, so we got to recover there if there's any move to the upside. Interestingly, if I expand this just a wee bit, you can see the buyers and sellers struggling right here. The sellers definitely don't have complete control. The buyers are really, this was a very strong push to the upside, but our CMO, our Chandy Momentum Oscillator, which I have grown to really love, is telling us that our dips are going to have a shot, right? What we don't want it to do is break below the pre-market low. That's 24,600. Okay? All right, let's get to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's had a go of it. Everybody's, Bitcoin, what? But as you know, I've been bearish on this thing for more than a hot minute. So let's take a peek at what's going on. One, why is it moving? Well, it's moving because people are selling. Now, beyond that, is this selling aggravated? Again, I think it's fairly organized, right? How do you tell? When you see aggressive selling, you're going to say to yourself, holy cow, that's crazy, okay? This is not crazy. This is organized selling. So what normally happens with organized selling? They find a value area and they start to buy. Now, where is that? So here's something very interesting. See how this says GEX1? That GEX1 means that it's a gamma exposure that is second only to the big lines, right? That's where the second most flow is sitting. That's what the one means. That's first officer as opposed to captain. Okay, so big line in the sand. Now, the put support, man, these guys are just getting smashed. Okay, the put support is still 100,000. Remember, I said when you lose put support, and it's the major put support specifically, you're going to sell the instrument, and then when you think it's been sold enough, you're going to try and buy it back and get it bought up over this level. They tried once on Friday, and they have not been able to do it since then. Every bounce is getting sold. Every bounce. And they're moving from one area of inventory to a lower area of inventory almost every time. Now, this morning, we are trapped in between 90,850 and 92,500. No way. I spilled a cup of coffee on one of my machines yesterday, and all of a sudden my keyboard's flickering. It's going to make me crazy. All right, sorry about that. So what are we staring down? 0DTE call wall up here at 110,000. 0DTE put wall at 107,000. Terribly underwater. These guys just are not rotating. I have no idea what the stall out is, but I think what they're doing is just selling the instrument overall. Now, here's the very interesting thing. It too is trying to build a floor. It's trying to build a floor. So, what do you want to do? Don't short the breakdown, friends. Only simpletons do that, unless you're ready to manage a ton of risk. Do not do that. Sell the bounce, because the overall trend is very negative. Value area low, 94,500. Anne-Marie, where is that bounce supposed to be? Well, you're going to have to look at inventory accumulation and just watch it fail the bounce into the inventory. So let's say the inventory event is 94,750. The bounce into that area begins to fail. That's where you're going to move into trend. Because see, there are a lot of people trying to buy this. They're like, oh, this is great. You know, I just saw an article that said, this is Bitcoin's IPO moment. I don't even know what in the world they're thinking. You know, they're thinking, of course, okay, let me just tell them that with an IPO, sometimes it sells off right after it goes mainstream. Well, I hear you, but I'm not buying that. Okay, so just watch for this. Watch for the hold. If it holds here, we've got ourselves a stair step that could easily get back up into the put support zone. So if you try the short once at 94,700 and it fails, wait or look for the hold over the last inventory accumulation below and buy that dip and move into the space. Okay? Straightforward. Not saying it's easy, but it's straightforward. Okay? And that's what we want to work on. Call wall. Holy moly. Okay, something's cooking in oil. No pun intended. This call wall's moved back up to 65. Okay, we want to be a little bit careful here. All right? Put wall is 59. I think it was 59.50 yesterday. Value area low, 58.75. Value area high, 60.50. Still in this box of accumulation. Here's the thing, folks. Call wall's shifted up. 0 DTE call wall at 60. If it breaks through this zone, we've got some gamma flows that could take us to 62, maybe 61.50. I don't like watching that call wall move way up there. Notice they broke the trend line and now trying to recapture it. So I would not be surprised if the call wall pushes us up at least into the prior resistance zones. Let's look at 61.25 perhaps. We've got inventory accumulation right around there. There's a box. It's a pretty good sized box. You can see the value in the volume profile. But something's cooking. I mean, they are trying to hold the edge, but you can see them still sitting in the box. So this box is the one that's going to have to resolve. We're still buying if it comes down to 59.30, and they're still selling at 60.50. So we got a short waiting up there. But if this pulls back and it cannot get below the 0 DTE call wall at 60, we've got ourselves oil with a case of the zoomies. So that's very important. That's a big one to watch. Let's go to gold. Gold is fallen back into its accumulation stages, big fat pockets of accumulation around this 4,000 event. Let's clone this and see if we have a 1-to-1. Come on, Sally. Yep, 1-to-1. Right? So it collects in one spot and then drops down, came right into the put wall. The 0 DT put wall remains 4,000. The big put wall is 39.50. The 0 DTE call wall is 4,100. And the big call wall remains 4,200. What is trend? Well, that would be down, right? What is momentum? Down. But like all the charts today, everybody's trying to hold the floor. So what do we want to expect? Here we are. We're holding the midline of the box. We are above the VWAP. So the breakout sends us into this very noisy patch of accumulation. And so what do we want to do? Well, we want to see how they protect that inventory there, right? Here's that space, the midline of it looks like 40.75. There's our number again, 40.70, 40.75. We know that's the slosh bucket, right? The chum bucket. There we go, get eaten up by all the sharks. So be careful there in that space. Bounces are still sell zones here, folks. This is my opinion, of course. But you certainly can buy them for the short order trend. But this downward formation is still intact. So where's the bullish pressure event? Well, I think it's probably the breakout and resolution above 40.50, 40.60, which should take us into 40.75, then 40.88, and then, that 4100 zone. I would be very careful as it moves into these spaces. Notice, these are hourly candlesticks. Do you see how they're retracing each other? Don't buy breakouts. Please, don't do it. Don't sell breakdowns. Unless you're scalping, that's not appropriate in this market. Do you see the retracement of the candlesticks? They are simply building volume shelves. All right, lastly, let's go to SPY. Big put wall, 660. That's the big put wall. And the 0 DT sitting in the same spot. 0 DTE call wall, 680. And then, of course, 700 is the call resistance. Value area low, 668. Value area high, 683, 684. What are the traders trying to do? Well, they're trying to hold the floor. Right now, they got a fair bit of negative traction. Bounces still appear to be selling zones. And where is the area of accumulation we might watch? Is it a big box or is it two boxes right on top of each other? Let's see. That's a breakaway. I don't want to count the wicks. So let's clone this. See how. Nope, it lost the zone. But only by a little, right? 1 to 1. Really trying to hold the floor. Listen, if they can't hold the floor, you'll see it fade, but there are going to be people under here buying the dip. No doubt about it, right? No doubt about it. So be careful just shorting the lows. This is not, listen, it easily could work. It's just going to open up risk. So sell the bounce that fails in a negative trend. It's the easiest thing to do when you're trying to manage risk first, right? I'm not saying it's easy, but the simplicity of what to do should sit right in front of you. You look for the inventory. You know that they defend inventory. You know it's distributed at a discount or at a profit. The discount we call liquidation, but it's the same thing. We're distributing the profit and the product. So what are we going to do here? Very likely try to get back up into the 669, 668.50 area, and then potentially sell off again. Watch for price action to try to stabilize here. If it doesn't, we'll have ourselves a breakaway. But remember, what do we want to look at? Big inventory box. We want to look at the halfway spot, see how well we hold the zone. Here's the halfway spot here. We just rejected that area at 665. It's got to break below and then pop up, which it kind of did already, and now break down. I'd prefer to see another test of inside of here into the 660, 664 area. before it moves to the south. All right, very technical breakdown this morning. I apologize for it being so long, but the framework is very straightforward, and I just want to give you everything I've got because you take the time to look at these. Power pack of information, and it's free. So there you have it. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you on the streams.